The feeling of relief that I experienced when I finished recording this footage, and the pain and suffering that I experienced while recording it, cannot be described with words. But enough spoilers. Welcome everyone to Pacifist Part 2, where I attempt to finish GTA 5 while personally killing as few people as possible. The rules, of course, were explained in Part 1, so rather than rehashing them again, I'm just gonna jump into it.
Man, get your ass in there. Bring your ass, fool. Always trying to boss somebody.
A significant part of Steely Wheelie Automobili 5 is the acquisition of vehicles without permission from their owners, and that is what we do on Franklin and Lamar.
Like that?
Thankfully, for our pacifist purposes, there are effectively no obstacles that seek to prevent us from stealing the vehicles, racing the vehicles, and then escaping the police. We simply drop off the vehicles at the dealership run by the entirely legitimate businessman Simeon, and then we go to Franklin's home that he shares with his auntie Denise with old dad ass.
With all that ass, nigga, she got ass.
And with that, I can give this mission the pacifist seal of approval. Truly, I have never seen pacifism this exciting in all of the days that I have been narrating these runs. We can now move on to the creatively titled Repossession, where we repossess a bike. We first go and meet our boss Simeon, the man most well known for his business ethics and honesty.
Hey, what's up, Simeon?
My dear
So
boy.
good to see you. So good. Hold me.
Going into this, I knew that I would only have one option in who I had to rely upon to get through this mission.
Knock, knock, niggas.
Well, I am definitely fucked.
The bike should be in one of the lockups down here.
Should be in the story of your life, asshole.
In a frankly surprising change of pace for a GTA game, men with guns try to prevent me from taking the bike. So whenever I am personally confronted with a problem or obstacle, I always implement the same strategy. I hide and I hope the problem goes away. In this case, I just had to rely on Lamar to deal with it for me. I think it's fair to say that Lamar, with his spray and pray strategy to gunfighting, is not particularly reliable or capable. In his defense though, he does eventually manage to take out the first enemy, prompting him to move up to the next spot of cover. One of the biggest problems with Lamar throughout this mission is that rather than firing back when confronted with gunfire, he seems to instinctively put his arms up around his head. In response to this, firstly, fuck Lamar. Secondly, it doesn't make much sense to be trying to make yourself smaller when you're on a pole that's half your size. Thirdly, trying to block bullets with your arms? Not a good move. Lamar spends 4 minutes on that pole, with Mr. Sunshine on his left firing the entire time and takes absolutely no notice. Eventually he dies from what I can only believe is complications related to chronic worthlessness. In my second attempt, Lamar was quickly able to take down 2 more guys, largely because the enemy seems to believe in the tactical superiority of running slowly towards the enemy while holding your gun outstretched. And with Lamar taking out the 4th and final guy from Phase 1, I could finally move on.
Only one way out this motherfucker. Hey, get in cover over there by the truck. They got me pinned down. Shoot that gas can.
In Phase 2, they have Lamar pinned down. They, of course, referring to one guy 2 feet above his head who only seems to be able to fire into Lamar's face because Lamar lets him. Lamar seems very hesitant to fire back, unfortunately, and thus will eventually die. Moving back into Phase 1, I feel I have to mention one of the many mechanics that I feel Rockstar has put in this game because they personally hate me. If I move too far forward in Phase 1, Lamar's loyalty to his homie overrides any sense of self-preservation and he will run forth regardless of how many men are still alive. The end result, of course, is that he gets massively destroyed. There is unfortunately a lot that I have to cut from these videos, so I want you to remember this moment as this enemy stands a few feet away from Lamar and takes no gunfire. At least half of the footage that you don't see is this, and it fucking sucked. I eventually found out that hiding behind a sofa in some bushes was a great tactic to progress.
Hey, step aside, motherfucker.
In Phase 2, it turns out that the enemy won't fire at Lamar as long as I am within its line of sight to some extent. This of course gives Lamar the perfect time to counterattack, but unfortunately rather than firing back, he seems intent on doing some sort of incantation with his hands. I get fed up with waiting and try to move to achieve better results. Eventually I realized that sometimes I could get Lamar to fire back by moving close to him with my gun drawn. This appeared to be because I interrupted his normal animations. It didn't make him any more resistant to bullets though. Eventually I decided to experiment with moving up to the second floor to hopefully move the enemy downstairs. Not only did this not work, but it's also time I told you about the second fuck you mechanic that Rockstar put into this mission. You see, these gangsters have a particular sensitivity to elevation, so if you climb on anything, all of them will pop out of nowhere as if you've committed the greatest sin to humanity. For example, watch the map as I do something as simple as climb over this wall.
Get out, fool! Hey, shit, on your left. How many they got?
Don't worry, Lamar, you've got this. No, how unexpected. Eventually I realized Lamar was more prone to firing back if I had already picked up the shotgun, and as long as I kept the enemy focused on me, Lamar would usually win.
Follow me, let's get through this. Yeah!
Moving now into Phase 3, I still can't move too far forward or else all the enemies will spawn, but Lamar is quite able to take care of the next two guys without trouble.
There's the fool on the balcony. You give Buster's a bad name.
We ain't got beef with you.
The next enemy, however, wasn't as easy.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
Keep in mind, it took me 50 minutes to get to this point, and I am now confronted by an enemy that has the ultimate high ground with cover. I waited 7 minutes, hoping that Lamar would just somehow win, but then I accidentally made a mistake. I forgot that you're not meant to climb on things.
Shit! Damn! How many they got? Get that car, they trying to get out of here. Light them niggas up.
Don't worry, Lamar, you've got this. I believe in you. Well, fuck, there goes an hour of my life. I still unfortunately couldn't solve the issue of Lamar taking a lot of damage when he's versing the guy who's next to the tanker.
Follow me, let's get through this.
So the next time I went into Phase 3 and Lamar got put up against Obi-Wan again, he literally died immediately.
Up there, shoot that nigga. Bust his ass.
By the way, it's worth noting that moving too far left or right causes all the enemies to spawn. Additionally, if I go past the gate at the end of the alley before Lamar kills everyone, I immediately fail. I feel like Rockstar's passionate hatred of creativity is really limiting my options here. After some testing, I concluded that either Lamar can't kill Obi-Wan or will always die before he can. Therefore, as per the rules, I have to kill Obi-Wan with melee. This means I'll have to find some way to climb up there, which of course will cause all the enemies to spawn, so Lamar has to somehow be faster in the previous scenes so he keeps enough HP to deal with all those enemies. So my first impressively stupid idea was to start the mission again and come at it with a truck. All I had to do was set up the truck beforehand, start the shootout, and then during the shootout do some amazingly precise parkour to get to the roof. Now the true extent of the stupidity of this isn't going to be apparent for a few minutes, but for now just know that every single time that I failed the mission, that truck would despawn and I'd have to start the whole mission again and get a new one. For the sake of my own dignity, I'm not going to tell you how many times I died and how many new trucks I had to get. But eventually I moved on to my second really stupid idea. I realized I could do away with the truck and have parkour that was even more precise to get to the roof. During this process, I also found a way to make Lamar go faster in phases 1 and 2. It turns out that if you take cover where Lamar wants to take cover, he will be forced to stand. He will cower less, take cover less, and will shoot at people more so he gets through everything faster.
Look, homie. Find your bitch ass some cover.
Two things made this difficult. The first, if you take cover at the wrong time, you will move past Lamar, everyone will spawn, and of course you will fail and die. The second difficulty is that the pole that Lamar wants to take cover on, you can't actually take cover on it until Lamar tries to do so. I can only assume that the game is scripted to make the hitbox larger specifically for Lamar, but like, why though?
On your left.
So I stupidly thought that I had the perfect plan, until I rubbed my 2 remaining brain cells together and I was like, wait a second. Have I ever tried using that car before? I would say that that moment was the dumbest I've ever felt in my entire life, but that moment actually comes later in this video.
You don't even need to creep on these niggas. Follow me. Let's get through this.
The car enabled me to spook Lamar off the portable toilet, making him reliably kill the guy next to the tanker, and it also gave me a leg up so that I could climb to the roof to kill Obi-Wan. It seemed like the perfect plan, and I did get close twice. I died so many times even getting those 2 attempts, often dying simply because I was moving the car. Then I did this by accident. It was at this moment that I realized that I had a major problem. I don't think people are going to believe that I'm this stupid. I could picture the comments accusing me of faking this for content, but no, dear viewer, I am actually this dumb. At long last, after so many attempts, I was finally able to hit Obi-Wan in the face.
Look out. They running on you.
I was so afraid that I would fall and die, but thankfully I didn't. I went and got the orange truck so that I could tank for Lamar. And to my surprise, Lamar managed to take out the 3 remaining guys and I finally got past phase 3.
You still breathing, homie?
Yeah, barely, homie.
My muscle memory kicked in and I almost shot the guy off the bike.
And that a motherfucker is right there. Hey, nigga, come here. We got your pink slip.
As tired as I still wasn't done. I had to get this bike back somehow without killing this guy.
We massacred those motherfuckers. Shit.
Whoa. Are you telling me the game will say that you've massacred people regardless of whether or not you actually have? What the hell, Rockstar? Basically unplayable, 0 out of 10. Get your shit together. Despite learning of this irredeemable flaw, I decided to continue anyway because I felt sort of invested. So I knew from prior experience that this guy is made of glass. He will die from effectively anything, but I have seen him on very rare occasions actually live.
Hey, look out for fools like me.
Dog, we gotta lay low.
Looking at his mangled corpse, all I could think of was the potential hours that I'm going to spend trying to barely tap this guy off the bike and have him live. So I decided that the only sensible course of action would be to follow him around the map for half an hour and hope he falls off by himself. Alas, he did not fall off the bike and we did an entire circuit of the map, ending up exactly where we started. So I knew I couldn't damage the bike without failing, and I knew the cops wouldn't shoot him off the bike. I also thought it was a bit of a cop-out to push him into a wall and say, I didn't really kill him, the wall killed him. So as I was considering my next move, this happened.
You fucking asshole. Shoot that motherfucker. Oh shit, he's down. Take the bike and meet me at the car wash round the way.
I don't think I had ever been that happy to see an NPC live and run away. I thought I might be potentially there for hours longer trying to get that effect, and it happened effectively first try. Then all I had to do was very, very carefully drive to the car wash.
You a psychopath. You done finally fucking lost it.
Nigga, that's that Apache blood.
I'm not kidding when I say that was the most difficult filming and editing I've ever done. By the way, sorry there wasn't a precise timer at the end. The way that I was doing the time code broke because I had the footage in 2 different video files. I promise you this won't happen again if I end up making more episodes in this series. But anyway, thanks for watching everyone. Hopefully this video does well so I can make another episode because it is pretty interesting to do. But yeah, I hope you're all doing well. Have a good one.